My name's Tim Rook, and I own multiple businesses. So I own Family Legacy Fitness, Next One Up Marketing, Momentum Movement, and I do a lot for my clients. So each business has its own unique clientele. With the Family Legacy business, we're really bringing families together through fitness and training. With Next One Up Marketing, we're helping entrepreneurs and business owners be able to get their story out there and be able to share really who they are through their brand. And with Momentum Movement, we're helping you to gain momentum through your life, being able to really identify your personal story and how that relates into your business, your messaging, and being able to get you up on stage and actually be able to share that story with the world.
Yeah, that's incredible. You sound busy. You have a lot of things going on here. That's
That's right.
incredible.
Yeah, I've got a great team as well, though.
Awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about your journey about fitness and how you got involved with that and how you ended up having your businesses.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a long journey that I can try to sum up very briefly. Is really thinking back onto what got me started was in middle school. In middle school, I dealt with some pretty severe bullying, and I mean it was to the point of I consider it like torture. And
Dang.
I ended up when I was 18 joining the martial arts, starting to gain my confidence back, get my voice back, all of those things. And I was given an opportunity to start actually teaching. And I really fell in love with helping youth be able to prevent bullying, but also when they were going through things that I've gone through, being able to counsel them and coach them through what's happening for them and help give them a hopefully better direction with where they're heading with their life. And then through that, I saw the opportunity that I was able to open my own martial arts school. And really for the past about 13, 14 years, I've owned multiple martial arts schools. I had 5 in the area in Northern Virginia. And basically, with that, my goal and objective was to create opportunities for others.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have my students become instructors become managers,
Yeah.
and managers, just like me, one day become owners. So what's
I-
been kind of exciting about that is I've been able to see about 3 to 5 of our staff members actually step into that role of ownership and being able to make that transition. So, and that's been an important objective or goal for me.
Yeah,
So.
that's incredible. I love that you've offered through your unfortunately terrible experience. You've taken that and you want to foster people's confidence. You want to provide a space where they can grow, be themselves, learn, build strength, and then also pass that torch on to them with their
Absolutely.
business or their future with martial arts or fitness or whatever that may look like to them. So I think that's incredible. So
Yeah,
kudos to you.
absolutely. And I think, kind of coming from like a lot of us are dealing with trauma from our past that actually relates back into what's happening now in our current present.
Hmm.
What's going through our subconscious comes back up. We just don't realize that it does.
Yeah.
And for me, I became very passionate about helping the youth with anti-bullying and all. And I realized that I really just like people discovering what their potential is
Yeah.
and helping them to achieve that potential. That's just kind of what my driving personal,
Yeah.
goal or life mission is. So being able to take that from helping the students to then helping the instructors to achieve their goals, and then now moving into some new businesses and some new things, the mission is still the same. It's
Yeah.
helping people achieve that potential, discover it, and achieve it. So.
That's awesome. What inspired you to establish, and how did your experiences as an actor, stunt performer, and fight choreographer influence your approach to running a martial arts studio?
All right, that's a few questions in one.
Yes.
But yeah, well, with my brand's Premier Martial Arts, we've actually closed our Premier Martial Arts schools, and we're opening up some new businesses at this point.
Mm,
But with finding that brand and being part of that company, it was really just the direction that they were heading was the same direction that I was heading, and what they offered with their curriculum and everything was what I was looking to build. And since then, the actual franchise has sold. It's kind of gone through some changes. It's not quite in alignment with where I'm headed with my life. And that's why we decided to exit that franchise and
gotcha.
move on and basically rebrand into a personal brand of not being part of Premier Martial Arts,
Yeah.
but now moving into something new or different. And so, but with that, you mentioned like the film and stunts and all
Talk
of that.
to me about
So
that.
yeah, so I it's kind of a crazy story, but I was going through back in 2015 some challenges in business. We all have those challenges
Yep.
as entrepreneurs. And one of my old hobbies and what kind of got me in the martial arts too was watching these films. As I'm getting bullied and picked on, I'm watching Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Lee and all
Bruce
these
Lee.
guys on TV, and the action, I just would train alongside of them basically, right? And so it was around 2015, I got an opportunity to get on set for a film that's filming in Richmond, Virginia, and a TV series. And through that, kind of ignited that, hey, I met some stunt people and some opportunities from there, led one thing to the next, and really just applying some of the things I learned through networking, through business. I was able to network my way through the film industry, get into the Screen Actors Guild, which just blows my mind.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like it was just one of those things where it's like, is this, my wife and I, Mary, were like, is this really happening? Did that just happen? Did you just meet that person? And it's just been an incredible journey, but that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you more about our new businesses and all too.
Yes.
And then that'll help guide maybe your questions where you had prepared.
Yes.
But yeah, so I grew up in Manassas. I went to Weems Elementary School, Metz Middle School. That's where the bullying situations happened. So hopefully things are a little bit better now there. But Osborne High School, before going on to Metz, I was actually in part of All Saints private school for a couple years. So yeah, went to Nova Community Campus in Manassas, got my associate's degree there. And so just kind of, I wouldn't say born, but basically raised from about second grade on in Manassas. So definitely a local there. And, just kind of being part of that community. The thing when I was a youth, the challenge was my mom knew everybody in the community. And it was really interesting. I couldn't go anywhere without meeting somebody that knew who I was.
No.
So like when I was a kid, I was crossing Route 28. And my mom gets a phone call saying, your son's crossing Route 28. Did you know that? So I get home and of course I get in trouble. My mom just knew everybody.
Wow.
And what's kind of funny about that is now being in business for as long as I've been, since 2011 in Manassas, I've gotten a chance to know everybody, like not everybody for real, but now my mom goes places and she introduces herself and she's like, oh, you must be Tim's mom,
Oh.
So it's like full circle
Yep.
now. Like now
Yep.
she's making connections and all of that. But no, it's just been great. Manassas feels like a small town. It's a little bit bigger than a small town, but it just feels that way, especially when you're part of a business community and being more engaged in the community there. I've done things like even coming up this year, I'm going to be back in my local school, Weems Elementary, where I went to school. And just being part of Career Day and being able to share a message and a vision for the kids there that they can achieve more in their life,
I love it.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And then you offer a blend of disciplines, including karate, kickboxing, I hope I say this right, Krav Maga.
That's close, yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then Taekwondo. How do you integrate these styles into a cohesive curriculum for students of varying ages and skill levels?
Oh yeah, well, great question. This is a great pivot too, to share with you about our new journey, what we're about to start.
Yes.
So yeah, we've exited from the martial arts franchise, and we're getting ready to open right now. Coming up in March, hopefully, will be our grand opening for Family Legacy Fitness. And so, Family Legacy Fitness basically is going to offer different programs for different fitness styles. So, getting out of just doing martial arts, we're looking at offering things like yoga, boot camp, conditioning classes. Really, it could even be any type of jazzercise or any type of group fitness instruction. That's what we're looking to do at Family Legacy Fitness. And one of the things that I think is going to be unique about us, and really what the name represents, is that it's really about families coming together. And really a lot of great gyms in the area and a lot of great programs out there. And really, like, there's enough people in the community that any program you find, you're going to be able to get value from,
Yeah.
What I think is our unique attribute is we want to be bringing families closer together and really strengthening the bonds of a family. Like, my family is big churchgoers. And so when we go to church, it's really about our family coming together stronger. And so with Family Legacy, the idea is that it's your family, it's your legacy, it's your fitness. And so when your family comes in and they sign up for a gym, usually there's kids classes, there's adult classes, but there's very rarely family classes. So one of the things that we're going to be launching in the next couple months is going to be family training, where you can get your whole family signed up, you can work out together, you can train together. And like whenever we got parents on the mat in our martial arts schools, the parents and the kids, just their bond, you just see it grow stronger. And the attributes of why parents would sign up for their kids for an activity like martial arts would be discipline, focus, confidence, building respect. And what I've noticed over the years is that a lot of times these attributes are things that, maybe the family is struggling with at home. And so they're finding these outside sources like martial arts or counseling to try to get these attributes stronger within their home. So what I want to accomplish with Family Legacy Fitness is that we're going to have basically weekly and monthly challenges for the family to grow in these areas, to identify what the rocks in their area and their family is, and then be able to strengthen those bonds, getting through those challenges.
Yeah.
So every month, imagine just 12 months out of the year, your family is identifying a major challenge and you're working through it together.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the physical fitness of training and working out together kind of releases those endorphins, kind of gets you up and moving, and it makes it fun where you're not just going and sitting down and talking about problems and challenges, but you're actually doing something fun together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
I think that is such a great idea because most times I feel like some kids, they're like pushed into something and they're like, I'm scared. Like, I don't want to go. Like, can you be there with me? And now this offers an opportunity. Maybe siblings can come along and
That's right.
they can do it. So I think that's going to be such a great thing to have. So like you said, building their bonds together, experiencing the fitness journey for
Absolutely.
them together. Like, that is such a great idea.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love is we've had families over the years that have come and trained with me that are on the spectrum. And really, in those times, we typically would have some of our helpers that would kind of help those kids kind of going through the movements and all. But what I want to do a little different with Family Legacy is just having the parents on the mat with those kids and just seeing them building that bond together and creating an opportunity where a lot of kids that are on the spectrum, like the further down on the spectrum that you are, the less opportunities that are actually out there to go participate, be in a group, be around other kids. And so I want to create an environment where these families can come and they can get the same benefit that all of our other families are getting, just strengthening those bonds, having that activity, making new relationships in the community. So
that's
absolutely.
So awesome.
There's one other thing I'd love to share.
Please.
And, it's probably not in your questions or
No,
anything.
please give me.
So another concept with Family Legacy Fitness that my wife and I are striving to do is we want to create a different model for the gym industry in terms of how staff and instructors are compensated. So for me, before I owned my own business, when I first started my martial arts school, I actually started inside of a daycare. And my wife and I, we took my last paycheck, $500. We had bought some martial arts uniforms. This is back in 2011.
Yeah.
And we went to a daycare where we knew the manager. And they let us come in. We kind of gave them a little percentage back for, being able to use the space, but we kind of gained our confidence in business by doing this.
Wow.
And, from there, it's like, with having the martial arts schools that I had and helping the instructors to become managers and owners, I want to do the same thing in a new way. So Family Legacy Fitness is really looking for the top talent of instructors in any fitness field. So if it's a group fitness class, that's who we want to find. Is if you're the best, Bali instructor or, yoga instructor that's out there, come and speak to us, because the opportunity we want to create for you is that within 1 to 3 years, you can look at stepping into business ownership yourself. And we can help you to be that bridge that goes from where we have the liability, we have the building, we have, the insurance and all of those things that can help you to kind of gain your confidence. And then when you're ready to step into that next phase, we can help you make that transition into ownership.
Beautiful.
And moving into the direction that you may want to do. Maybe it's signing your own lease or whatever that might look like. But that mentorship role, that's really what the goal is there.
That's awesome.
And in doing that, really the idea is that we're giving up a lot of our business, in a sense, for creating a financial opportunity for these instructors that would be better than pretty much anywhere else that I have seen out there. So we want to grow together, and that's the objective.
So if anybody out there's listening and they're doing fitness, something positive out there, Tim would love to have you and you guys can talk. Where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Facebook, Tim Rook. You can go on Instagram, but Facebook's probably my number one that I use. I
Yeah.
know a lot of, even younger people are moving more away from Facebook. But yeah, you can go on Facebook, Tim Rook. You're welcome to reach out to my cell phone number, and I can give that on the call here too, 571-330-9359, and just send me a text, introduce who you are. I will say that the number one thing that we're looking for is someone that aligns with our values. So that's family-oriented, youth-oriented, that you can be working with both youth and adults and really connecting these life skill values in the classes. Of course, we've got a program that we're going to help introduce to you, that you don't have to have all of the knowledge of what am I going to do about these life skills. We've got that program already designed.
Awesome.
And everything. So
love it.
So yeah.
I'd like to ask you, what have been some experiences that you've seen within your career of people that you've made impacts on their lives, whether it's adults or children? I'd like to know about some of those stories, if you don't mind.
Oh, hey, that's great. Yeah. Oh man, there's so many. So I don't want to embarrass anybody, so I won't use anybody's
Yeah, no names are
okay?
fine.
But yeah, I have this one guy. He was actually like one of two of my first students that signed up in our martial arts school. And this guy's been through a lot with me. He's moved on to now going into big things with his goal. He's graduated high school and he's got his vision. I actually just gave him a recommendation this week, for what he's going. So I don't want to say more because people will start to know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But this guy here has specifically gone through so many different challenges in his journey through his black belt journey. And some of those have been through bullying, where he had kids that were actually teasing him on the side, in the playground at his daycare. And I got a chance to share with him, just kind of listen to him, share with him a little bit of some strategies. And he went back, he implemented the strategy, which was really just verbal, not physical defense. We're there for that. But he implemented a verbal strategy that actually diffused the situation, countered the bullying, and, ended it, which was pretty cool to see, But his story and journey went on so many times where, in life, he wanted to give up. He wanted to quit. He saw maybe another activity, another shiny thing that he wanted to go try. And his mom was a cornerstone in his success. So his mom knew that he was talented, knew that this activity was teaching him good values, and she refused to let him quit. Every time, he trained with me probably for about 13 years, okay? And every time that he wanted to stop, his mom said, nope, you're going to go in, talk to Mr. Tim, and we're going to have a conversation about that. And, both of us, we're forcing you to do this, but we're guiding you, and helping to find and explain the benefits and the goals. And really, a lot of times when we achieve challenges or distractions, we just need to realign with our goals and get back on track. And sometimes we need to have that mentor, which was his mom and me, I guess you could say, our instructors, not just me, but our instructors, who were there for him, that helped him to really push through those times of doubt, right?
Yeah.
And by doing that, he's achieved gold medals in sparring and jiu-jitsu and so many different things. He's anyway, I don't want to say more. People know who I'm talking about.
I know.
But that's one of my favorite stories. One of my first students. I can tell you numbers of students that I've mentored with that have been through physical bullying, where I was able to coach them through what happened. And even for the most part, the ones that trained with us came back with success stories saying, hey, this is what happened. This is how I was able to get through it. And this one guy growing up in a kind of a rough neighborhood, he got jumped by about 3 or 4 guys.
Oh, man.
And when he told me about the story, he said that it was just like being in the class. It was playtime. It was like, it was real, but he felt like everything was slowed down. He had trained for this, was prepared, and he handled himself really well for the situation.
Yeah.
And he was able to get out, relatively unharmed. So
Wow.
So yeah, there's a number of situations like that.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite stories is just kind of my staff, okay? And they will definitely know that I'm talking about them, and they will know who I'm talking about with this. But one of my favorite guys that I hired, I don't know how to share this story without it sounding like, oh, I'm this amazing guy, But this is what happened when he was, when he was young. He first started training with me when he was probably about 12, 13. He was in middle school. I was at my school, Metz, where I met him, and I had a little table at like a back to school night,
Yeah.
and I met him and some other great kids teenagers at this event that trained with me for a long time. But yeah, this guy, he came in, he started training with me for a couple years, and at one point, he was probably about 15 or 16. His mom said that they just couldn't afford it anymore. And I made a decision. We have a leadership team that he was part of. And I just made a decision there. I didn't do this for every single kid that ever came to me saying that they needed to quit, right? But I saw something in this kid that, that this potential, right?
Yeah.
And so I told the mom, I said, listen, I'm not going to let you guys quit. I am going to sponsor your son for his membership, and I'm going to hire him and start paying him to come in and work with me.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we hired him. We gave him an opportunity. He grew in his confidence and his speaking skills, really getting out of his shell. He went on to become my head instructor for our kids program, my demo team leader, our competition level leader, and eventually he ended up becoming a manager for one of our businesses. And now he stepped into that role, that whole goal of now he owns his own business,
Wow.
And one of my personal favorite memories from being in business is seeing this guy change his circumstances,
Yeah.
and being able to be part of that journey for him. Like, he is the one that really took that journey. He accepted it. He took the challenges along the way of what he needed to do to grow into the person that he's become. And he persevered like this other guy. I don't want to say his name.
Yeah, I know.
But this other guy, the two of them together, he persevered. And it really, like every success that he's gotten, I was just a guide. He was the one that actually stepped into these roles and achieved these successes himself. He made the choices to do that. And so one of the things that I didn't even think this was how this conversation was going to go.
See?
But both of the guys that I'm talking about, they still work together, and they're now united and, moving forward in that location, in that business.
Oh,
together.
you must be so proud. That's
excited
incredible.
for them.
And see, again, I hate going back to this because it makes me sad, but through your experience that you've gone through, the fact that you know firsthand when these kids are going through it as well, and you know what that felt like, and you know what it's like, maybe you didn't have somebody to coach you, and you just don't want them to have to go through that alone. The fact that you're there, and I can see where this plays along with what you said with the type of people that you want, the values aligning, where you want to see them grow, just like with these kids who are now in manager positions, and you want to see them grow. Like, that totally shows, and it just shows how much you care about that and how much it means to you to see them succeed. And I think that is so incredible, and your heart's definitely in it. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're changing like their lives, and maybe there's other kids who don't even know that this could be like an outlet for them to help them ease some of their troubles that they may having at home or at school. So this is such a great space that you've been able to make, and the fact that you're moving out on your own to build your own facility and community is awesome.
Yeah, thank you
I'm
for that.
so glad that you've shared all of this with me. I think that that's just incredible.
And I just like to share too is that, when I was growing up as a kid, my parents didn't have much. My dad ended up getting a job. Like, when I was a young kid, he was working in a toy store. And, to give you a little bit of context, he finally, through his father-in-law, my grandfather, got a job with the federal government. And, through that, worked his way up to the place where he could actually take care of our family and everything, more sustainable. But we always had the challenge of being able to afford to do activities. So my dad, like, I went through a couple of different sports and a couple different activities, but there were definitely times where it's like, I wanted to play hockey, in high school, and I loved playing street hockey in my neighborhood, but we just couldn't afford it, And when it went to, financial aid and colleges and all of that, like, I only made it to an associate's degree, and there was a lot of limiting beliefs that I had on myself, that I had to break through. And with that being said is even the concept of, can I own my own business? When I first stepped into that ownership role, there's a lot of imposter syndrome, there's disbelief, there's just a lot of subconscious things that you have to really break through to get to that next level. And so with my goal for what I want to do with Family Legacy, and being able to help these other entrepreneurs that may, like future entrepreneurs really, right? These fitness coaches that are maybe being told by their parents that, hey, you need to go get a real job. Like you can't do this fitness, this activity forever. I want to help them break through these mindsets that they might similarly be going through, and help them prove to themselves that can be a starting block for you.
Absolutely.
To take it to the level that you want to get it to.
And they'll be making an impact too with the youth and adults even. So
absolutely,
that's so great.
Yeah.
So I know you've touched on a couple of things, but where do you hope to see yourself and your business in the next 5 years?
Oh, that's
once
great.
you've implemented all of these things and all these goals that you are getting to and are achieving?
Well, I hope we have enough time so I can share
We
with
do.
you a little bit more.
We do.
My wife and I were kind of going through a transition right now, like not with our marriage. Our marriage is awesome. We've got 5 beautiful kids, but through business, how we're making the transition into family legacy fitness. We've also opened up a marketing company called Next One Up Marketing. And this marketing company is really was born out of a need that with my 5 martial arts schools, I couldn't find the right company that could actually market the way that I wanted it to be. So we decided that we're just going to build our own company. So Next One Up Marketing is really diving into unique storytelling with your brands, and more than just digital advertising and digital marketing. There's many different ways that business owners market their companies. So we really meet you where you're at, whether it's network marketing or vendors or promotions. Like we really meet you where you're at, and we show you that there's ways to actually, expand upon what you're already doing, or adding on new avenues for marketing your thing. So with that, the overall goal that my wife and I have is that we're going to have a marketing company and an operations company. And these 2 companies are going to really help business owners really identify their brands, their systems, and all of those things, and really help them to discover their potential and grow. So through everything that I've learned so far in business and how I've scaled and everything. And with that being said, Family Legacy Fitness will have opportunities for these staff members that want to become, their own business owners. They can do that 100% on their own and be supported and be encouraged. They could also potentially do that alongside of us and using our marketing and operations companies. And if that's something that will help them to continue to move forward and continue to grow, that's kind of the opportunity that we want to create for them.
I love
that
it.
Makes sense.
And then as far as the clientele for this, who can reach out to you? Is this mid-sized businesses, small business owners? Who's the clientele that you hope can reach out to you?
Yeah, that's great. Well, right now where we are just starting into the marketing company, we're really looking at somewhere between not early startup, but kind of late startup into that. We call it like a perseverance stage. This is something that I just learned from a master class that I took. Is a lot of businesses are in the stage called perseverance, where they're really just trying to make it. And they're in this like constant struggle. And that stage is actually the ideal situation for us, that if you're feeling like you're kind of spinning your wheels, you're not quite so early that you can't hire and have somebody come in and help you, but you're at a stage where you've got a little bit of income that you can actually hire and let somebody help you to develop the systems that you need. That's really our ideal customer, And anyone that reaches out to me that's at that early startup phase, we're going to have a great conversation. I'm going to give you some great strategies and some advice for where you're at. I recognize that you're not in a place that you can hire us just yet, but I'm an open door that I can help give you some guidance and help you to maybe take that idea and turn it into the next level for you. And then maybe you'll come back and look at working with us in the future. So really, anybody is welcome to hang out with me, chat, and talk marketing strategies. But that's our ideal client, if that makes sense.
Yes, wonderful. And now, is there anything that I have not touched on in regards to your businesses or your industry or your personal life, family, bullying? You have the floor to share anything that you would like with the listeners.
Oh, that's great. I might take a time to explain my momentum movement. So momentum movement is really about gaining momentum in your life. And it's kind of a pivotal feeling that I want to have throughout my personal brand, who I am and what my mission is. And you feel that momentum in Family Legacy Fitness, like we've talked about. And in the marketing, it's all about momentum and gaining that traction, So the company that I'm launching, Momentum Movement, is really just about gaining that momentum. And we do that by helping you to understand what your story is and really speak your story in a way that can resonate with others, where you help them to see that what your struggles were led to your success and that their struggles can also lead to their success, right?
Yeah.
And kind of breaking beyond just the traditional motivation of just this dry, these memes and phrases that everybody kind of says, right?
Yes.
But when we really break past those, like, here's 3 things for this, here's 5 things that you should do, and we really get into the heart of your story, those other things will start to resonate more and people will listen and relate to them better. You know? So with Momentum Movement, we're going to launch a stage later this year. And the idea is to have local entrepreneurs come up on stage, share their story, kind of like a TED Talk, 10 to 15 minutes of your journey, your story, and get a chance to be highlighted in the community. But at the same time, the overall arcing mission for this movement is we want to help entrepreneurs get on stage with known entrepreneurs. So where you might feel like, hey, I'm kind of an unknown speaker right now, I want to be able to get on stage with a known speaker.
Yeah.
And working together, we can be able to accomplish that.
For sure.
So the whole course is going to include a few things. You'll have an actual speaking course where you get a chance to learn how to speak, how to resonate your message. There will also be an opportunity to get up on stage, get your pictures, get your videos, all of that. I have my own podcast that I'm launching with this
Let's
as well.
plug that. What is it called?
Yeah, so it's, right now it's called Next One Up Marketing, but it may shift into Momentum Movement when we start doing this direction.
And it's on YouTube?
It will be on YouTube and it will be everywhere. So,
beautiful.
Yeah. So, and so with that, that'll help you when, help the person that's trying to craft their story be able to gain some practice before getting up in front of an audience and sharing their story.
I was going to ask, will you be able to coach them? What if this is something they've always wanted to do, but they are terrified to speak to an audience? Like, will you be able to guide them and coach them and give them tips on that?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So I've taken so many different speaking courses from some of the top speaking coaches that are out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in the audience, the majority of the audience say, I don't actually want to speak up on stage. Like that's how almost everybody thinks, right?
Yep.
Well, there's actually different stages that we should be aware of. And the stage that we're on right now is just one-to-one. We're just talking to each other and sharing our stories. And, when you're talking with a customer, you're sharing your story, you're actually speaking. For me, with the fitness and being able to huddle up the families and the youth and be able to share a story with them, I'm trying to connect with them. If you give a presentation for your coworkers, you're doing all of this as speaking. My wife, Mary, was like, I'm never going to speak on stage. And I'm like, well, I think I'm going to prove that wrong in the future, but
never say never.
But you actually are a speaker. And then I went through and I shared all of these different times where she's speaking, and she's a novelist. She's writing books. And so pretty soon she's going to have to get up in front of people and share her story, right? And share her journey and all of this. So that's really what Momentum Movement is about, is recognizing it doesn't have to be up on the big stage, but that we go through these stories, these opportunities to share our story.
Yes, and reach a wider audience, hopefully, of other entrepreneurs and maybe other people. And so your wife is an author. What books has she written?
Well, she is not published yet, but she's going for the traditional published avenue, which is a completely different beast, So the struggles and challenges that she's been through is she's a creative writing major from school. She's got her bachelor's degree, and she's been writing books pretty much since she's graduated.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's got 3 completed manuscripts, but she really wants to go the traditional publishing route.
Yeah.
And if any authors are still with us and listening to us right now, they understand that getting traditionally published is a big challenge. The market is very saturated with people who want to be published. And there is a science to how you write your query letter, your first chapter, like your first, all of these different things.
Yeah.
And when the literary agents are actually reviewing, they will look at and see one thing that's off and then just disregard it, because they
Oh my
have like
goodness.
3,000, 20,000 submissions
Ooh.
that they have to review. So if they see one thing that's not professionally the way that it needs to be, to their opinion, which is the other challenge, right? I'm not
Yeah.
going the author route, so I can say it. To their opinion, then they just disregard it,
Man.
And then where you might have something perfect for that one person's opinion, but you submit it to somebody else, they're like, no, this is kind of off. I don't like it. And it's gone.
Oh man, it's very
So
competitive out there. My goodness.
there's so many, she could get on your podcast and share with you
Yeah, we would
more.
love to have her. Yeah.
Yeah, but she has learned. What's exciting for me is just watching her go through this learning growth mode, because she has learned so much about the industry that when she first got involved, when we first got married, everything was seemed like, hey, this is just the process, and then the process gets more and more in depth.
Intricate. Yeah.
The deeper that she goes into finding that process.
Yeah.
So
Oh my goodness. Well,
yeah.
I hope that she has the best of luck and that the publishers are like, let's do this traditional stuff, babes. And
Yeah.
I hope that she's able to publish her book soon.
Yeah, she's got this one book that she's got right now that she's working on. It is so close. She's got a
Yes.
literary agent that's interested. So, and she's had a
Awesome.
few literary agents interested in her books. So this one is seeming very close. We'll see what
Yay.
happens in the
I'm
next
so excited.
year.
I can't wait to hear when
Yeah.
it's published and
Yeah.
it made it. So that's great.
Thank you.
All right. My final question. Do you have a quote, a saying, or a mantra that has inspired you, or maybe something that someone has told you that resonated? And would you like to share that with us?
Oh, wow. There's so many. But when you said that someone has told you, the thing that popped into my mind was my first martial arts instructor. And, he pulled me into the room and he was mentoring me.
Yeah.
And he told me that, he said, Tim, you're the kind of guy that rises to the challenge. So you need to put yourself in more challenging situations. And that, when he said that to me, it didn't sink in until I started really seeing myself rising to these challenging situations and realizing that, you know what, I do need to push myself more to get out of my comfort zone, to go to that next level. And there's been time and again through business where it's like, hey, I wanted to expand to my second location. Eventually I had 5 locations for the martial arts, right? But I wanted to get to my second location. And I thought to myself, there has to be the finances, I have to have the person that's going to be the manager, and I have to find the right location, the right lease.
Yes.
Well, at one point, I thought I had all 3. And then, of course, it found out that, hey, one of those 3 areas wasn't quite where it needed to be. So then I stopped and I pulled back. And then later I had 2 of the 3, and then I pulled back. Well, then I finally realized, and I just told myself, I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do it. And I'll figure the rest out later. So I didn't have any of the 3. I created the 3 things and I just went for it. And then as I went through the process of expanding into the second location, all 3 things started to fall into place.
Yeah.
And so that was me getting out of my comfort zone completely and just rising to the challenge.
Yep. I think that is so great. And the fact that you've lived it now for what he said, and you're like, I get what he says now. Full circle. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing your experiences, your insight, and all your goals that you hope to achieve within the community and hopefully maybe even outreach in bigger places. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the call.
You're welcome.